In this video we will talk about how to cut plan sheets in ORD. Now if you've watched the video on how to produce full plan sheets, the plan sheets process is going to be pretty much identical, but we'll show you the exact steps on how to do that. The first thing that we need to do is attach the files that we want to have attached to our sheets. So if I go to my attach tools and it brings up the references, I have these files attached to this particular drawing. So whenever it creates the sheets, these files will be attached to it. The other thing that I'm going to make sure that I have turned on is underneath View Attributes is Constructions. That way I can see my shapes whenever they get laid out along the alignment that I select. So now if we're ready to create the plan sheets, let's go to the Drawing Production tab and let's select this little icon for the name boundaries. Inside of here, we're going to select this option that says Civil Plan. For our drawing seed, we're going to select the one that says Design, D-Size, Plan. That way we'll have a plan port on the top of the sheet and another plan port on the bottom of the sheet. Then we need to identify what scale that we want this to be at. And for this example, I'm going to use the 20 scale. So I'll leave it set to that. The name, that's optional. We'll just leave it as is. If you do put a different name in here, just make sure you don't use any special characters like the $ or the and symbol or the star. Don't use any of those special symbols. It will not produce the sheets like you want it to. The other thing is this name right here. This is going to be the name of the group that gets created, and that will actually be named according to the alignment that you select. So we'll leave it as is also. We could put in a start location and a stop location, and we may do that for this example, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. But these options down below here, where it says length, left offset, right offset, overlap, and boundary chord, we want to leave those left alone because those get set by whatever scale that you select. So after you've selected your scale, don't tweak these numbers, because if you do, you'll get undesirable results on your cut sheets. So if I come down through here, and for this example also, I'm going to uncheck this box that says Create Drawing. So now if I come through here, it'll say down in my status bar, it's going to say Identify Path. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to select my alignment, which is this right here. And now you'll see on the end of my cursor, you can see it's going to the start point. Of course, this is the start of the alignment. So I'll go ahead and left click to start it there, and you'll see my ports going along that alignment. Let's say I want to go a little bit farther up above the alignment before I start it. Well, if I change my start location, let's just change the start location, and I'll check mark the box on. I'll do 600 plus 00, and I'll tab to lock it in. And you'll see that it actually goes a little bit farther up. So we're going to do that for this example. And so as I go down through here, right here is 4, and now I got 6. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out 6 ports. That way it can go through there and create each one of those boundaries accordingly. If I left click to accept it, and then one more left click to place those shapes, you'll see that it laid out these shapes accordingly. And if I want to turn those off, I could always go back into my constructions and turn that off. So now if I actually want to create the actual sheets, which like in the full plan sheet operation, it's going to create a drawing model and a sheet model. The sheet model is going to have the border around it. The drawing model will have this geometry inside of here shown in the actual drawing model, but everything outside of it's basically going to be clipped out. So we'll kind of show how that works here in a second. So now if I go to this little icon right here that says Name Boundaries, and we see in our plan groups, if we expand that out, we can see these ports that got created, or these shapes. And of course this right here is our group, which was tagged from our alignment that we selected. So now if we're ready to actually create the sheets, I'm going to check mark this box right here that says Show the Create Drawing dialog. Then I will go ahead and right click over this group. I will select this one that says create plan drawing. Inside of here, I will just go ahead and select plan. The name, I'll just leave it as is. If I do want to produce them into separate sheets, I could do that. For this example, I'm just going to produce them inside of this drawing. But if you wanted to, you could actually output these into separate DGN files if you wanted to. The other thing that I'm going to check is make sure this scale right here is set to 1 to 20, just like in my previous dialog box. This one here is set to 1 to 20 and we're good to go. For the most part, you shouldn't have to tweak anything inside of this dialog box, but you may want to double check it before you actually click on OK to produce the sheets. So now if we're ready, go ahead and click on OK. And it may take a little bit of time, and you'll see down in your status bar the progress of how it's creating the sheets. And then once this is done, we should see 3 sheets, but then also 6 drawing models. And now you see once it's done, it opens up the last sheet, and I will close the name boundaries down, and you see that we have a plan on the top and we have a plan on the bottom. So if I go back to my home tab and I go to my models, you're going to notice that we have 3 sheets, which is this one right here, this one right here, and this one right here. But then we also have 6 drawing models: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. So basically, this drawing and this drawing right here is referenced to this sheet number 1. So if I go to it, and you'll see that it looks just like this right here. Now if I need to add some geometry to this, what I would want to do is, let's say I want to go to this plan drawing right here, and I open it up. You see the clip boundary around it. If for some reason I need to add some other geometry to here, I could do that. But like I said, in the full plan operation of it, the drawing option is mainly designed to put other details that don't really go with the default model. The default normally just has your plan graphic stuff, kind of like what we're showing here. And then underneath your drawing model, this is where you add other information like text or notes or dimensioning, stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't really get placed on the default model. So that's the kind of the stuff that gets added to this sheet. And if we did add some stuff in here, if we went back to our sheet model, it would actually reflect inside of here also. So just kind of keep that in mind. The only thing that you should really have to do in this sheet model is add your title block information here, which we'll talk about that in a separate video. So basically your sheet model is the output from either the default model and your drawing models that are created. So that's the basic process of creating plan sheets in ORD.